r/AskReddit. All-you-can-eat buffet workers, what are your horror stories? My first job was as a dishwasher in an all-you-can-eat fried catfish buffet. People are animals, especially the ones that get far more food off the buffet than they can eat. Then they take the leftovers and pile them on a plate or tray, cover in ketchup and tartar sauce, then pour their iced tea over the top of all that. A lot of people did that, got at least 2 plates like that a night. Nothing made me hate people like bussing dishwashing on buffet night at the pizza place I worked at in college. What the duck? Serving after church crowd is pretty high up there though. Jesus Christ would never have changed a dirty diaper on the table and left it there. Okay, bitch? A woman came in with 2 of her kids and had a pretty regular meal. You pay when you leave at our place, and she decided to sneak out with her younger daughter before paying, leaving her underage son alone at the table. We caught on pretty quick and sent someone after her, who found her in her car in the parking garage, waiting for her son to come as well. She refused to come back and pay, so we had to keep her son hostage until the police came to handle the situation. What some people will do to their kids, I swear. Edit. Forgot to mention we also found out from her son that she stole one of the manager's key cards and they would regularly come into the hotel and use the card to go swimming in the top floor pool. Smart. I'll give her that. But still. My parents owned an all-you-can-eat buffet and I was there every day of my life from 14 inches. My favorite horror story is when a couple came in to eat, obviously. They loved the crab legs and every time my mom puts them out, they took it ALL. Also, just a reminder, crab legs are expensive. Forget the other customers, they just took it and ate it all. So they're there for maybe 2 hours now and it's getting dark. They've eaten through at least a week's stock of crab legs and my mom finally decides it's enough. She stops putting it out in the buffet and brings individual plates to the customers who wanted it but couldn't get any due to this couple. Understandably, the couple is angry. They literally flipped the chairs at their table, flipped their plates, bowls, cups, etc. and completely trashed their area. Food was all over the floor, table, chairs. Sticky soda was dripping into the carpet. They left in a hurry, but someone caught their license plate. We called the cops and I think they said they charged them with something. I can't remember the aftermath details clearly, because I was probably 8 or 9 years old, 20 now. I just remember looking at the mess and feeling really angry that my sister and I had to clean it up with our mom. It was a family-run business, so we didn't have much help. Not mine, but I had a buddy who was 400 plus lbs and the dude could put away some food. He went to a casino buffet that was one of the higher-end ones that had crab legs and steak. On about his 4th or 5th plate stacked full of crab legs, the manager came out and gave him $250 in free slop plate to leave the buffet. Would have been sick if he held out for more. The duck you talking about, boss? I'm just getting started. I'm going surf and turf this mother ducker into the ground unless I see 4 of those vouchers. Went as a customer to a Golden Corral. I'm walking to the chocolate fountain and 3 little girls step in front of me, and all 3 of them just go hands deep in the fountain. The family was the first table by the fountain and all they did was a laugh about how cute it was. Employees turned it off immediately. At one point myself and 2 other family members worked at a Golden Corral, each in different sections, because small towns don't have a lot of job options for high school college kids. I worked in the bakery, which was surprisingly low in horror stories other than the chaos that remained after a large group of children came through. My brother worked at the steak station. He got these regulars that would tip him pretty well if he would prepare blue steaks for them. The very idea of ordering blue steaks from a buffet makes me gag. My cousin worked at the salad bar. Management would require her to keep seafood items on the bar for long after the point where they'd be safe to consume. I think the record was chilled shrimp from Mother's Day that stayed for over a week and a half. They finally caved and let her toss them when a customer complained about the smell. So I work in an all-you-can-eat using tablets. This is, according to my boss, based on the Japanese kind of restaurant. We serve mostly Asian food, from Chinese to Japanese and even some Korean. The premise is that people order their food in rounds and we then bring the food to their table when it is ready. We always warn customers beforehand that If they leave food behind because they ordered too much, they will have to pay extra, depending on what they left behind. We have seen people try the weirdest stuff if it comes to not paying extra. People dumping food in their handbags, to people shoving it in their mouths, then go to the toilet and flush it, to putting hair on it and blaming us for it. We see them pull this stuff, etc. And when we actually catch them doing it, they blame us for it and refuse to pay. Some people let it come down to the police to sort it out sometimes. There have been multiple occasions on which they were involved to solve the problem for just €5. I guess some people's greed has no extent. Years ago, I worked at an all-you-can-eat country buffet in South Carolina. I was a busboy. One day, I went to a table. It was a mess, as per usual. It looked to be a large family group of families of around 12 people or so. The thing that stuck it in my memory is that whenever they had finished with what they were going to eat, they would scrape their plate and use it again, scrape their plates onto the floor next to their chairs. So next to each chair, there was a 6-inch to an 18-inch pile of chicken bones, crab legs, mashed potatoes, remnants of baked potatoes, etc. Just disgusting. Not a worker, but I was at a Chinese buffet with the hot pot option that you had to pay extra for. There was a separate section with the stuff for that which was raw. This guy loaded up his plate with all this raw stuff and was eating it, including dangerous raw stuff like shrimp. I think he may have been slightly intellectually disabled. The Chinese staff had to come over and inform him that he was eating the wrong things and tried to explain it to him. He got really embarrassed and said that he did not understand how it worked. Between the Chinese staff with their limited English and this poor guy who was not capable of really understanding what he had done wrong, it was one of those awkward moments in life that you cannot forget no matter how much you try. Not a buffet, but I worked at a pizza parlor that offered a lunch buffet of endless pizza. The lunch ran from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This gentleman comes in, he thinks he was homeless. He serves up a sky-high plate of pizza and just goes to town. He stayed from the beginning to the very end to make sure he got his money's worth. Well, his body didn't appreciate being stuffed like a peanut of pizza. He got up and waddled fast to the bathroom, and next thing I know I'm being told he had liquid crap trailing behind him to the bathroom and inside the bathroom. I was informed by my boss about the incident. I told him I was just heading out for a break. I was not about to clean that up. I managed a buffet in a casino in Reno for a few months. Had this family come in. Mom, dad, 2 little kids. I get called over to the table because the mom had thrown up on her plate table and wanted us to take it away and clean it up. I asked if she was okay, and she said she always throws up when she eats cheese. She had gotten herself an enchilada. It was Mexican-themed night. WTF, lady. Enchiladas pretty much always have cheese. I told her I would have to call janitorial because none of my staff was trained to handle biohazards. She didn't understand why I couldn't just take it. Janitorial came in and couldn't clean up because she refused to move from the table. So janitorial left. She calls me back over and starts yelling at me. Dad starts yelling too. Apparently, she wanted to keep eating after throwing up, which I thought was really gross. I had them sit at another table so they could all keep eating. Janitorial came back and cleaned the other table. Finally, they go to leave and decide to make a huge scene in front of the whole restaurant and demand their money back. I refuse. Dad gets in my face and starts shouting that I'm just a racist white bitch and his wife makes loads more money than I do. I call security and they storm out, pulling pictures off the wall and shattering them on the floor, and Dad also picked up the vase and broke it. The 2 kids are running around and banging on the walls. Security finally shows up after they ran off. I have to do a report, and they were put on the 86 list. I ducking hate people. I was once at an old country buffet, waiting patiently to get some mac and cheese. The kid in front of me piled his plate high and then started tapping the serving spoon to get all of the cheesy goodness free from the confines of the spoon. Once he was satisfied with his handiwork, he licked the spoon clean. I didn't have any mac and cheese and haven't been back since. Pickle boy. There was this man who used to come into our restaurant who clearly wasn't all there in the head. He was functional but very weird. As the months progressed, he got way weirder. He started wearing women's underwear over his clothes, even going so far as to stuff his bra. Picture a 6 feet 2 inches, 250-pound dude with a baby face wearing silky underpants and a lace bra over ratty jeans and a stained Hawaiian shirt. That's our guy. He went from being able to hold a sort of normal conversation to just spouting conspiracy theory word salad. But the weirdest thing was his change of eating habits. He used to eat a variety of our soup, salad, baked potato options from our buffet. But as his mental health deteriorated, so did his desire for variety, I guess. By the time his weirdness devolved to aggression and we had to 86 him, he was coming in for two things: pickles and ranch dressing. He'd pile as many pickle slices as he could onto his plate, then put so much ranch on them the dressing and pickle juice would be running all over the tray. He'd eat it all, and his face would be covered in ranch and pickle bits. Then he'd drink water straight from the pitcher he inevitably stole from the wait station, sliming it with pickle ranch slobber. Never a dull moment with that dude around. Pickle boy, wherever you are today, I really hope you got the help you so desperately needed, but I was not sorry to see you go ETA. For those who are asking about the term 86, in this case, it means we kicked him out permanently.